Aboriginals are defined as people who are members of the Aboriginal race of Australia. 2.7% of the population in Australia is Aboriginal people. In total, that is 400,000 people. Aboriginals have several hundred Australian languages, and many is no longer spoken.
Between the years of 1910 to 1970, many Indigenous children were forcibly removed from their families. White people hoped to end Aboriginal culture within a short time and get rid of the Aboriginal problem. The time between 1910 to 1970, where the children were removed, is now known as the Stolen Generation. The children were placed in a children's home for Aboriginals. Here they had to adapt to the white culture. Their names were changed and they were forbidden to speak their traditional language. The policies of child removal left a legacy of trauma and loss that continues to affect Indigenous communities, family, and individual people.
The Aboriginal culture is very different from ours. They are very traditional and spiritual. Religion and art is an important part of their culture. And they don't live like we do in Denmark with lots of space. They live in the nature. This video shows an example of the house situation.
Medical research has consistently shown the link between overcrowded housing and infectious ear, eye and skin diseases, all of which are now widespread in Gulawinku.
Before the European settlers arrived in Australia, indigenous people were not often sick. Diseases such as smallpox, tuberculosis, influenza, and a common cold were exposed when the Europeans arrived. And it had negative consequences because they were not able to resist the diseases and therefore many often died.
It wasn't our dream to come to the earth. It wasn't our dream to come and eat in a white man's table. It wasn't our dream to come and wear white man's clothes. It wasn't our dream to work for the white man as a slave. We were free people.
Some children never learned anything traditional and received little or no education. Instead, the girls were trained to be domestic servants and the boys to be stockmen. The Aboriginal people do not have the same rights as we have in Denmark. Most of the people do not get an education. Aboriginal people were blackbirded and used in the sugarcane and cattle industry. They suffered terrible abuse and were denied their wages. They had no control over their freedom, and they have no right to refuse to work.
I was very young, so I don't remember that much, but I remember some white men forcing me into a car, and my mom was screaming and crying, and yeah, then they took me away, and that's. Yes, it actually affected me a lot. It took me a long time to really understand who I was and where I came from. I was placed in a children's camp for Aboriginals for about, I think it was around 2 years I was there. And then I was adopted into a white family. And yeah, I was very happy there, but I still had a lot of inconvenience from my past.